Okay, hey, I am the arch friend, and last night I decided to stream Tetris 99. I only started playing it yesterday. It took me a while, but I got around to it eventually. I'm coming around to it eventually. I have a long history with Tetris. One of the first video games I remember playing is when my dad came back from Singapore. I was 4 years old, and he had like a bootleg Famicom console with like 60 games. I don't know if it's 60 games, 30 games, one of those bundle kind of 10 games. And the first game I remember playing was Super Mario Brothers, and I quickly stopped playing that because it was too hard. And the only game I really played on that console was Tetris. And I remember my dad always talked about how obsessed I was with Tetris as a kid. Later he'd get me a Sega Mega Drive. The Sega Mega Drive had like a 8-in-1 cartridge. I believe this came from Singapore as well. And that one had Tetris on it too. So I would often play Tetris a lot growing up. It's a very chill game for me. The kind of game that doesn't have a story to it, and I didn't need a story. Back then, the idea that a video game had any story to it just didn't exist to me. It was just simply a concept, an interactive concept to simply aim for a goal. It wasn't until, say, Street Fighter 2 when I realized a video game could have characters and a story and a narrative. But even then, even nowadays, I don't look to video games for storytelling, mainly because every attempt to tell a story in video game that I've experienced has been absolute garbage. It's kind of hilarious that an auteur might come along and make a video game and try and tell a story as if it's some kind of movie or a book, when the best stories you can experience in a video game are generally when you create your own, kind of like Dwarf Fortress, or if that's a bit of a complicated mess, then I don't know, Minecraft would do. But anyway, Tetris was just something I'd chill out to, and before the Tetris company, or whoever it is, decided to clamp down on the IP and clamp down on any kind of like bootleg devices making Tetris. I don't know if you've seen the documentary about the making of Tetris and how it came to the Nintendo system. It's a beautiful documentary about the creator, Alexei Pajitnov. In the end, he wanted to move out of the Soviet Union because it was so depressing. And I'm guessing when he came to the United States is when he started thinking about Tetris as an IP. Because in the Soviet Union, under communism, you didn't really have the concept of IPs. Like, if you made something, then it belongs to everybody, right? So there was a certain point where Tetris was just open to anyone to make new interpretations of. I remember certain handheld devices I had which had, say, like 5-piece blocks or 1-piece blocks that if you press the rotate button it would blast the pieces down below and you could like basically shoot them all away. I don't know, it was interesting, but it wasn't Tetris. I've always appreciated Tetris, the pure Tetris as it was, and that was the game I grew up on, and that was the game that I got used to. It was just a simple chill game about creating order out of chaos. But I suppose once the IP started being more clamped down, the Tetris developers started expanding the ideas of Tetris while still keeping it as pure to the concept as possible. Because at a certain point, we all knew how to create order out of chaos. From there, it became more interesting to create a higher order, like a meta order. It started getting a little more meta, where simply creating a Tetris, which is 4 lines, wasn't enough. I remember a friend of mine had a Nintendo 64 version of Tetris, and that was where the concept of holding a piece was introduced and still used now. And she was telling me that some people criticize the idea of holding a piece, but it actually worked for the strategic version of Tetris. In this Nintendo 64 version, you had creating a larger 8x8 square out of 4 pieces of tetrominoes that were the same, like 4 T blocks that would turn into a square, or 4 O blocks, or 4 I blocks, bricks, tetrominoes, you know, whatever. I guess the only bricks that couldn't make a square were the S and Z bricks. But if you were to create the square, then it would give you even more points than a Tetris. And so it was this kind of new way to play Tetris. I remember other variations of Tetris where each brick was solid and you break up the brick by creating a line. And if you break up the brick and it's suspended in midair, then it would fall down. There would be like a gravity effect. And there were certain strategies you could use to make extra bricks suspended in the air fall down and create even more lines beyond the Tetris. And when I started seeing all this, I kind of decided this wasn't what I believed Tetris was, the Tetris that I grew up. Now, the Tetris we have now, which really began with a Facebook game called Battle Tetris, or Tetris Battle, I forget. It was the idea of a more strategic Tetris where you organize the pieces in such a way to move garbage blocks over to the other player's side. And so we started seeing an evolution in the layout of the Tetris game. Instead of seeing just one next piece, we could see up to 4 pieces. And of course the holding piece from the Nintendo 64 game also remained. And this new trick where you could spin blocks into gaps that we now call, say, the T-spin if it's the T block. But you can do it with just about any other block if you shape it right. You now have this kind of spin move which will now give you more points, and I believe the T-spin triple is the ultimate, but I haven't checked. Maybe there's other ones. And then on top of that, you have combos, or back-to-back combinations, where breaking a line after breaking another line is a kind of a back-to-back thing. But if you can back-to-back, say, 2 Tetrises, or a Tetris followed by a T-spin, or 2 T-spins, then that compounds even more points, and more garbage thrown at other players. And so I guess Tetris 99 was just kind of this battle royale version of Tetris Battle, where 99 players randomly battle against each other. But it's utilizing everything that Tetris has become. And growing up with the original Tetris, this whole T-spin thing was a bit beyond me, and I kind of just fell out of interest of playing Tetris. I guess I was more a fan of just creating order out of chaos, and that was it, just the simplicity of that. But I'm starting to come around on this more strategic side of like higher order Tetris that comes with the idea of Tetris battling. And so for the past few days I've gotten back into Tetris. With Puyo Puyo Tetris, I'm also trying to master Puyo Puyo, but I mean that's gonna take me a while, and I can't even begin describing what is required for a Puyo Puyo thing. Maybe I'll do that in a later video. But for now, I'm starting to integrate within my morning schedule like a game or maybe 2 or 3 games. I mean, it's hard to just stick with one game of a Tetris 99 Battle Royale to basically get back into it. The games I played on the stream last night, when re-watching them, I realized how slow I was. I need to be a lot faster. And when I became used to the speed of Tetris was back in the, as I said, the old Tetris on like a little handheld device I had, and it didn't even go that fast in maximum speed. I mean, I learned much later on a different Tetris game that maximum speed is actually the blocks just instantly appearing at the bottom. Oh, that was another thing. When the block lands, you can rotate it almost indefinitely. There was a time when it was indefinite, but now I think there's a time limit on how many times you can rotate the block, particularly when it comes to like battling. So I noticed how slow I was, but I was still doing well. But that is one thing I'm gonna need to improve, is the speed. And last night the highest ranking I got in a Tetris 99 battle was number 7. However, this morning I did get to a 5th place, so improvement is happening. Hopefully over time, I don't know, we'll see more frequent higher placements. I hope to win a few games, but I don't know. When you go up against those final 5 players, I mean, the bricks are just dropping down instantly, and while your field is just piling up with garbage. But yeah, so this was the last game of the night. I ended up in 7th place, and I don't know, future Tetris videos, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be a lot faster than this. How do I get it? Ah. Oh my god, what's going on? compiling. Save me. I could have done a T-spin, but it would have taken too long. Ah, what did I just do? I did it again. Okay. Nice. Ah, damn it. Go like that. Come on, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Ah. Number 7. I had a handle on it, but someone was just like constantly barraging me. Oh, completed. Alright. I think that's about it.